Yes, thanks. I try to share. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so you can see at least the first slide. So again, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all. I'm very pleased to be with you today for this great event, as I said. And first, I would like to congratulate, of course, Indonesia for the great effort regarding literacy as let's say a key focus here, but also for all the effort and progress in education, and notably through the achievement and implementation monitoring for the SDG 4 related to quality education, lifelong learning systems, and other issue, because it's a very inclusive objective for the SDG and the Agenda 2030. So first,
Hervé,
would like to
excuse me.
congratulate.
Okay,
Please.
okay. We need to change some adjustment on the presentation. The team here will make a slide presentation, and then you just
Okay.
do the presentation. You may say like a next for the next slide of your presentation.
Okay. Okay.
You may stop
Thanks.
sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. I can see it well. I hope, I think it's the same for you. So let's stay on this first slide to say congratulations again to His Excellency, the Minister of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia for all the effort in Indonesia to move forward against the Agenda 2030 and notably the SDG 4 related to access and quality on education, lifelong learning system, including, of course, literacy, which is a key component. So I welcome also here, and I'm very glad to see a lot of participants. I'm sure that there are a lot of guests, relevant guests here, and of course partners, experts from various perspectives, as well as key international and national organizations, and also from UNESCO colleagues are here because we are in line with our UNESCO offices in the region, and notably Bangkok office and Jakarta office, because we work, of course, together. Of course, I'm very pleased, as I said, to share some key highlights from a global perspective, which will be certainly complementary to other presentation and sharing, knowledge sharing from a more, let's say, national perspective, to show a great a picture for making progress on literacy in Indonesia. I would not recall, of course, the theme. Everybody knows about digital literacy for Indonesia's recovery from a global perspective. And this is a key moment, a key day, because you well know that today is the International Literacy Day. So it's our day on literacy to celebrate, to advocate, and to try to identify a lesson learned, to better act and implement all the action related to literacy in line with lifelong learning perspective. Let's move, just before that, we will move to the slide 2, but just to introduce me briefly, my name is Hervé Marchand, as you already introduced me, and I am the chief of the section at UNESCO headquarters, based in Paris, responsible for youth, literacy, and skills development. I joined headquarters for almost 2 years ago, and before that, I was in the field for many years, working on technical and vocational education and training, but also, of course, literacy, teacher, and other issue related to education. So now we are on the first slide of the content of the presentation. Here to no, Please move to the previous slide. Sorry. Yes, thanks. So let me share some information or some knowledge regarding Indonesia and literacy. Just to, and it is very important to raise that Indonesia has made great progress and effort regarding literacy. You well know that both youth and adult literacy rates have increased over the last decade. So it's good to congratulate Indonesia again regarding these. We can say that it's a highly literate society that is shown by the adult literacy rate, which was almost 96% in 2018. So it's above the average of the region. I will come later on that regarding this rate. However, we can see that there are a lot of challenges which persist in Indonesia, and particularly affecting marginalized communities. You can see here some few figures, notably that 3 million Indonesians remain illiterate. You can see as a big, but regarding also the population, it's not so high. So I'm sure that it can be solved. And then we have close to 7 million children, adolescents, and youth. We remain out of school, and it is where the focus of literacy could be emphasized. Because of course literacy is not only for out of school children and youth, but this is where at least our section, working with countries and partners, try to have a strong focus, while there are also some action regarding more formal education, because literacy is part from the early learning for students, learners, from various levels. So there is a complementary vision, action regarding various levels, but also various forms of education and training. Additionally, we can raise that, of course, disparities among various subgroups of the population remain. So there is a need to have an inclusive vision and action for on literacy. There is also a gender gap that would be highlighted. We can see that over 69% of illiterate adults are female. So that's highlight again the gender gap in lifelong learning, and the importance, as I said, to have an holistic vision regarding lifelong learning perspectives. So in short, there is a need certainly to improve policy and measure, maybe to make it more, to make them more effective, and being able to target the marginalized population of Indonesia. Next slide, please. So now I would like to highlight some key programs to illustrate the effort of Indonesia. Previous slide, please. We are on programs for Indonesia. There are a lot of programs going on. Of course, I won't raise all the programs, but the key one, we well know that, and you well know also that there are an important program regarding Learning Activity Center, which is run by the government and Community Learning Center in Indonesia, under the leadership of the ministry and the government, of course. This is a relevant program because it's implemented within the community. This aiming to facilitate a range of literacy improvement opportunities. There are key achievements in this project because there are about 543,000 students and over 77,000 teachers, which are targeted and reached through this project. And this highlight the impact of this program of thousands of adult learners. What I can also raise as a positive element is that during the COVID-19 pandemic, this program and the action regarding the community learning centers have continued to be effective, and this through the offer of online resources and e-modules which were created by the government, and this to continue the learning for students and teachers. So it's a key effort. Indonesia was very agile to adapt to the COVID-19. We were all forced to do so, but it's good to highlight that Indonesia made this great effort. Just also to illustrate again the capacity of Indonesia to adapt to the COVID-19 crisis. We can highlight that great efforts have been done regarding digitalization as an aid in literacy program, focusing notably on the importance of access to education during the COVID-19 pandemic. As I said, Indonesia was able to adapt to the crisis and to reach many learners as possible, understanding the importance of digital skills and literacy. Just to highlight some of them, not sure we are on yes, fine for this slide. I think it's no, please the previous one. Previous one, sorry. Okay, next one. Okay, stay on this. So just to highlight, there were a lot of action regarding notably national television education programs, also simplified teaching curriculum, but also improve access to digital platform through, for example, internet for students, but also option for schools to purchase technology for remote learning. So these are key, and these has make Indonesia to push the digital learning access, which is essential in facilitating the recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Please go to this slide regarding UNESCO, the prices, please. Next one. Not this one. Next. It's not easy when we don't manage a presentation. No, please go in the previous slide. I will tell you. We are on the fourth slide. Yeah, this one. Great. Thanks a lot. So regarding further going on Indonesian literacy, to highlight some key programs which were awarded by UNESCO through two key prizes we have at UNESCO. You will know that during the International Literacy Day, we have also a specific session regarding the international prizes. And it's great to highlight that UNESCO awarded two prizes to Indonesia in the last years. And these prizes, just to share some information, are funded by the Republic of Korea for the Kim Sejong Prize, and from the Republic of China for the Confucius Prize. So the first award received by Indonesia was 2 years ago in 2019. It was for Basali through the UNESCO Confucius Prizes, and for the program more specifically called Basabali Wiki. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce well in local language. So this program promoted the preservation of local language and linguistic variety, and this through a digital multimedia and multilingual wiki dictionary, meaning from Balinese, Indonesian, and English, but also encyclopedia and virtual library. The goal of this program is to revitalize local languages by creating a sense of ownership, specifically targeting youth with an emphasis on young women and girls. And this is a key also attention regarding literacy for UNESCO and international community. I would like to highlight that between 2011 and 2019, Basel Bali Wiki was used by over 500,000 people, according to the Global Education Monitoring Report published in 2020. The second program, which was awarded by UNESCO and notably through the Kim Sejong Prize funded by the Republic of Korea, and thanks to them, was awarded to the Directorate of Community Education Development of the Ministry of Education in Indonesia. So it was great. It was in 2012, and the contribution of this program was to reduce illiteracy by half by 2015. It's good to raise that these programs reach over 4 million people by 2012. Key focus of this program was gender mainstreaming and empowerment, as women and girls remain less literate than their male counterparts. Great also to highlight that there was a focus regarding digital skills through media and technology literacy, which were important pillar of the literacy strategy, according to also a UNESCO report published in 2012. Then, as a second component, I would like to highlight how multi-stakeholder partnership can make a difference to implement the ASEAN Declaration on Strengthening Education for Out-of-School Children and Youth. I would like to highlight three key information and points. The first is that UNESCO Bangkok, UNESCO Jakarta, and POSCO, which is a Korean steel company, have been supporting almost 1,000 disadvantaged children and youth in several regions in Banten, West Java, and Jakarta. These with the aim to enroll and continue their education in non-formal education as well as in flexible learning programs, and these through again schools and community learning centers. A second key point is that additionally UNESCO partnered with Zenius Education to organize teacher training on the individual learning program with the use of ICT equipment and internet provided by POSCO, again the Korean steel company. The last but not the least is that a grant program for community learning center and schools was implemented to improve infrastructure and conduct a very complementary field of action regarding vocational and skills development program. And this will ensure that marginalized learners can participate in education programs. So in short, all these programs have shown the strong commitment of the government of Indonesia and also of its partner to improving literacy as a matter of dignity and an integral part of their right to education, and this aiming to leave no one behind. As you know that it's a key dimension from the SDG 4 related to education in the Global Education 2030 agenda. Next slide, please. Okay, so we are now on lesson learned and situation regarding the COVID-19, regarding of course the crisis, but also the consequences regarding literacy. So just as you know, and you have well observed from your perspective, that the global COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the shift to digital technology, digital modalities, and it was the case for many countries over the world. Of course, this shift was, let's say, in an urgent way, but it was already in the process for making change in the modalities to address education and training. But this has also highlighted the importance of digital skill in accessing services and education and training in the various forms. It's good to raise that today's literacy includes these digital skills. It's no more only reading, writing, and have numeracy skills. Digital skills are really part of literacy, and this was a key dimension of a new way of action regarding literacy. Digital skills, in short, remain the most significant challenge across the world. A lot of effort and experience have been conducted over the world. During the ILD today, it will start in Paris this beginning of the afternoon. You will see great experience from countries and as well as from the various prizes related to digital skills, digital learning, and technology. A key aspect as a lesson learned also from the COVID-19 crisis is that the pandemic has brought to light the digital divide, which was very important and magnified over the crisis. Some figures show that more than half of the world's population did not have access to basic to computer-based activities, as well as they don't have the basic skill to use these services. It could be, let's say, solution or use that could be seen as simple. For example, sending emails with attachment, moving files from a place to another, using copy and paste and transferring files between the devices. But it's not so easy for a large number of the world population. Again, the figures that I share are very illustrative on more than 50% of the population that don't have the basic skills. And here is a dimension where we should do some effort. And these figures is based on data from 2017, so it was before the crisis. And again, the COVID-19 crisis has shown how important it is to move forward on the dimension related to digital skills. Another figures also from several reports is that less than 30% of the world population was proficient in standard ICT skills, such as using basic formulas in a spreadsheet, and finding, downloading, installing, and configuring software. And this is a situation which is not only for least developed countries, but also for developed countries. It's a situation for all where challenges regarding the digital divide was exacerbated. Of course, these affected literacy a lot. There is quite, let's say, a tension between the need to move on literacy digital skills and to target marginalized population who don't have access to services, I mean ICT services, access to platform. So somewhere the digital divide can be exacerbated by the crisis, as I said, because we should target this marginalized population. Why they don't have? They are the most concerned not to have access to these services. So here is, let's say, a tension where we should find some solution. A last aspect, but not the least, is about communication, which remain essential to the success of the recovery. And again, here, advocacy campaign or more information regarding access to services, equipment, ICT equipment is essential for reaching marginalized population at the end, and of course the whole population of Indonesia and other countries. Next slide, please, regarding challenges. Thanks. So globally, I would like to come back on global figures regarding literacy. I would like to raise that even if we usually talk about a lot of challenges regarding literacy, I would like to highlight that the progress in literacy, and particularly among youth, is positive and encouraging. Just to show some key figures, not all the picture. You can find a lot of information, statistical information, in our website from UNESCO, from the UNESCO Institute for Statistics. But just to highlight, it's very important to raise that the global adult literacy rate, meaning people age above 15 years old, was 86% in 2018. While the global youth literacy rate, meaning people from 15 to 24 years old, is almost 92%, which is equivalent to 100 million youth lacking basic literacy skills. So again, we can see it as a big number, but it's something that is achievable with focus action, but also in a lifelong learning perspective. Of course, these progress are, as I said, positive, but they are also different, uneven across region, countries, and population. I would like to highlight that the literacy rates are lower in low-income countries, which have almost 73% youth literacy rate, so it's less than the 92% that I raised at the global level. Of course, there are disparities regarding the region. For example, we can see easily that some regions like Sub-Saharan Africa are largely illiterate. 1/4 of the population is illiterate. And also to highlight a positive situation for Southeastern Asia, where the youth literacy rate was almost 98% in 2019, and the adult literacy rate was 94% the same year. So it's above the average, the global average. Both literacy rates for the region are above the world average, as I said in 2019. These highlight great work in the region on literacy. Another aspect on which I start at the beginning is about the gender gap, which remains. You will know that we have almost 773 million young people, adults, who lack basic literacy skills. And in this number, there are about 2/3 of them who are women. So there are efforts to do to reach them. This proportion has not changed in the past few decades. So again, efforts are needed. We can also highlight regarding the gender gap that more men than women are using the internet. So it's somewhere where the disparities can be challenging, and it has to be addressed. I would like to address also that this gap is growing in many regions, so it's a key concern, and this particularly in developing countries. Next slide, please, about UNESCO action. Okay, thanks, great. So UNESCO, of course, is highly involved regarding literacy. We will use for our action our UNESCO strategy for youth and adult, which is a frame from 2020 to 2025. We have also a clear plan of action for this period. We just start last year, 2020, for this through this strategy and plan of action, building on key achievement from the last year. Of course, we will keep focus on the number I raised of young people and adults who lack basic literacy skills. So this famous 773 millions of young people and adults, with a specific target on SDG 4.6, which is related to youth and adult literacy. In this strategy, we have 4 main strategic priority areas, and also which are complemented with advocacy action to advance the global literacy agenda. To raise the 4 priorities, I would just raise in short that the first one is related to policy and strategy. This key pillar aims to support member states in developing their national, of course, literacy policy and strategy. The second one is about inclusion and gender equality, which aim to address the learning needs of disadvantaged groups, and again, particularly women and girls. The third one is about leveraging digital technology to expand and improve learning outcomes. And the fourth one, the last but not the least, is about monitoring progress and assessing literacy skills. So this is for the framework for UNESCO. Now I would like to highlight that we have, of course, operation and under the leadership of our international institute, UIL, based in Hamburg, in Germany. We have this Global Alliance for Literacy within the framework of lifelong learning, which is known as the GAL. GAL is a major platform to implement the strategy and paying special attention to notably 29 countries, as you well know. There are 20 countries with an adult literacy rate about below 50%, plus what we call, of course, the E9 countries. And Indonesia is part of this great group, which are composed of countries with the largest number of non-literate youth and adults live. Of course, UNESCO will continue to work and to support Indonesia in this process through this GAL and the UNESCO strategy related to literacy, as I raised, Indonesia is part of the GAL. We have also key programs like the link we have regarding the Global Alliance for Literacy with the Global Education Coalition. You certainly know that UNESCO launched in March 2020 this Global Education Coalition, which is a response to the COVID-19 crisis, helping to advocate, to develop, to strengthen knowledge sharing, but also to have some key modalities in supporting countries, meaning mobilizing partners from the various research unit, universities, but also NGO, which are involved in this sense. For now, UNESCO has mobilized more than 180 partners, notably from the private sector, I would say, with an aim again to support countries on digital solution, digital platforms, digital training for students and teachers and policymakers through 3 key missions. I would mainly raise the mission regarding teacher, which is called the Global Teacher Campus, and this key mission aim to train, to reinforce the skills for 1 million teachers, notably on technology and remote learning pedagogies, and of course, including literacy educators. So it's a key action regarding literacy. There are also, the last but not the least, specific program related to the link between the GAL and the Global Education Coalition, with the use of digital technology in literacy teaching and learning. And this program aims to target 100,000 youth and adult literacy educators in more than 10 member countries. That's in short UNESCO action regarding literacy in line with Indonesia. So next slide about lesson from COVID-19. Thanks, it's great. So just to say about to share about the lesson learned from the COVID-19, a key point is about the fact that at the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak, literacy was quite left behind because there was an high focus on formal education because of the situation of the school closure, and UNESCO was very involved in monitoring school closure. So now we can see that the situation has changed. Government partners have realized that literacy is a key component of education. Even if we work on technical and vocational education and training, secondary education, higher education, global education, global citizenship program, literacy, it's at the core of this concern. So now it's better. We will know also that the outbreak for the COVID-19 was important. At the peak of the COVID-19, about 1.6 billion of students were affected by the crisis, and quite half of these students kept out of classrooms, and they did not have access to a computer at home, according to a recent study by the UIS from UNESCO and also from the teacher task force. So the digital divide was again a big challenge.
Hervé,
of course, there are a lot of positive. Yes.
I know it's going to be very much more interesting to have a details presentation from you, but because of the time, the duration of the presentation,
okay.
Could you please
Yeah, I was quite at the end, so I will go short. Just to say that in short, given the time constraint, we have learned a lot from the COVID-19 response, and UNESCO was highly involved. We should continue. Again, a key message is to move forward on literacy in the framework of lifelong learning perspective, because literacy is a fundamental element of education training, both for formal and non-formal education. Indonesia, of course, will also have this G20 summit next year, so it will be also a great moment to advocate on literacy. I would like to close to ask everybody to join the international literacy event at global level today. You will learn, I'm sure, a lot, while you can participate in the question and answer session. Please be mobilized for literacy over the world to make change in education and training system. And again, thanks and congratulations to Indonesia for the effort. I close here. Thanks to all.